Kerby Joseph has been a fan favorite player since the moment he stepped foot in Allen Park. A big time playmaker at the safety position, and a guy that's just so easy to root for, took to the hearts of Detroit Lions fans almost immediately. However, despite his statistical success over the last couple of seasons, despite being statistically the best rookie safety from his class and one of the best safeties in the NFL, many people have controversial opinions about Kerby Joseph. Other fandoms believe that he is a dirty player. A lot of Lions fans believe that he wasn't nearly as good his sophomore year as he was as a rookie. And there are some people that are very concerned about Kerby Joseph's ability to cover as well as his future in Detroit. So today we're going to take a look at Kerby Joseph, take a look at what he did as a prospect at Illinois, what he's done through his first 2 seasons in Detroit, just how impressive he's been for the Detroit Lions secondary, and then take a look at what the future looks like and what the future holds for the Detroit Lions former 3rd round selection. Now, Kerby Joseph stands at 6'1" at 203 pounds. He spent 4 seasons with Illinois where he was mostly a backup. He played defensive back and then switched to wide receiver and then back to the defensive back. And I think that part of that transition did help him become a better safety. But regardless of how you look at Kerby Joseph's collegiate career, he was a late bloomer and really didn't come onto the scenes until his final year at Illinois in 2021. Now, as a prospect, Kerby Joseph was a good athlete. However, his RAS score was incomplete as he measured in with good size and great explosiveness, but did not participate in the 40-yard dash or any of the agility drills that would lead to a completed RAS score. So he doesn't officially have one, despite being graded pretty well in the 2 positions and areas that he did participate. Now, as I said, Kerby Joseph took quite a while to get going at Illinois, but in his junior season, his redshirt junior year, Kerby Joseph was one of the best safeties in the country and one of the best defensive playmakers in college football. In 2021, Kerby Joseph finished the year with 57 tackles, 1 tackle for loss, 1 sack, 5 interceptions, 2 passes defended, and 3 fumble recoveries. His 8 turnovers on the year were 2nd in the Big Ten and 4th in the NCAA for takeaways. He was a turnover machine. He had over 70% of the Fighting Illini takeaways in 2021, and he was by far their biggest and most impactful playmaker in the secondary. And that's a secondary that included a very young Devon Witherspoon, a bunch of players that would go on to be drafted into the NFL. And in that 2021 season, Kerby Joseph was the best of the bunch. Now, throughout that season, Kerby Joseph displayed a lot of great skills for the safety position. He displayed range, he displayed ball skills, he displayed the physicality, that he was a big hitter, that he was fearless over the middle. And I do think that his time at wide receiver is a big part of why Kerby Joseph has such good ball skills and why he's able to come away with so many interceptions and get his hands on so many passes and be just so disruptive in the passing game, is because he spent that time at wide receiver. He understands the route concepts. And I think pairing that with his range, his physicality, and his willingness to hit, it made Kerby Joseph one of the best safety prospects in the NFL draft, despite his 1 year of true safety play. Now, after his fantastic season at Illinois, Kerby Joseph declared for the NFL draft, where he was selected 97th overall in the 3rd round of the 2022 NFL draft. Now, Kerby Joseph went through the preseason and really didn't show too much off, didn't have the biggest preseason, didn't make the biggest plays, but also was far from a liability. He was clearly a young player with a lot to learn at the position, but he was a player that showed off some good explosiveness, showed off some good range, and throughout training camp especially, made an impact on the Detroit Lions special teams as well as a depth safety option. Now, Kerby Joseph started out 2022 a little bit slow. He did not start the first 3 games of his NFL career, but did play and contribute on the special teams. But after injuries arrived, Kerby Joseph was thrust into a starting role. And even though he was certainly not quite ready for NFL play, you could tell that the talent was there. In 2022, Kerby Joseph played in all 17 games for the Detroit Lions. And after starting in his 4th ever game as a Lion in week 4, Kerby Joseph was phenomenal. Yeah, he had a couple busts in coverage. Yeah, he gave up some big plays here and there and certainly showed some rookie struggles, but he also finished the season with 82 tackles, 8 passes defended, 4 interceptions, 2 forced fumbles, and a fumble recovery. He intercepted Aaron Rodgers 3 times on the season and is one of the few players to do so on Aaron Rodgers in his entire career. Aaron Rodgers is known for not throwing interceptions, and Kerby Joseph caught him 3 times as a rookie, as well as having 2 forced fumbles and a fumble recovery. He contributed to 7 turnovers for the Detroit Lions defense as a rookie, despite, again, not playing in the first month of the NFL year. So Kerby Joseph was a big play guy. He's a guy with a lot of energy, tipped the football away quite a bit, a big hitter, a ball-hawking safety, but did have some room to grow. There were plays where he did give up some big plays in coverage. There were plays where he did get turned around. And there are some plays that you looked at and you say, yeah, there's certainly some room to grow in 2023. And I do think Kerby Joseph got better in 2023. Yet again, starting 15 games for the Detroit Lions, Kerby Joseph again totaled 82 tackles. He had 1 tackle for loss, 11 passes defended, and 4 more interceptions. He is a player that once again showed up in big moments, had a lot of big turnovers, a ton of big plays. And even though the forced fumbles weren't there this season, the interceptions were there. His coverage improved. And yeah, there were still a couple plays where he got beat over the top. There were a couple plays where, the passing game was able to be successful against the Lions defense. And part of it did contribute to Kerby Joseph, but I think that he definitely took a step forward in coverage, despite not necessarily taking that statistical leap. I do think he was better, but I also think there were some plays and there were some games where Kerby Joseph didn't quite look like himself. And there was a lot of speculation over the year that Kerby Joseph could have been dealing with an injury or just for one reason or another wasn't right in in his mindset going into every single game. Now, over his 2-year career, Kerby Joseph has the most interceptions of safeties in his draft class. He has the most passes defended of any safety in his draft class, and he is 3rd among tackles in safeties among his draft class. Despite being the 5th or 6th safety, despite being the 97th overall selection, Kerby Joseph, by the numbers, has been the most impressive defensive back among the group, and that's a group that includes a lot of great players, including Kyle Hamilton, including Jalen Petrie, including some other really, really good, strong secondary members. Kerby Joseph is the best of the bunch. Now, we talked about last season having great statistical success, but despite that, Kerby Joseph, by a lot of fans, did seem a little bit slower, did seem a little bit less explosive, and it wasn't so much to the fact that he wasn't a good football player still, but especially in, say, the Buccaneers game the first time around, say in the Packers game, he looked just a little bit slow. There were some Lions fans that were concerned that Kerby Joseph was dealing with an injury. In this offseason, it turned out that that was unfortunately true. Kerby Joseph came out and said that throughout the 2023 season, he was dealing with a hip injury. He was dealing with an injury that limited his rotation in his hips, limited his explosiveness, and he played through that injury for almost the entirety of the NFL season. He quoted this offseason saying that I ain't going to come back until training camp. He said, yeah, just bear with me, I will be back. So Kerby Joseph was talking about his hip injury and saying that after surgery this offseason, he was going to miss OTAs and he was going to miss minicamp, which was something that a lot of Lions fans were concerned about. Before Kerby spoke on this, it was brought up that he wasn't at OTAs, he wasn't at minicamp, and a lot of people were very concerned about this fact before finding out that Kerby Joseph did have surgery and was going to be sidelined for a little bit. Kerby Joseph, throughout OTAs and minicamps, did do walkthroughs with the first team defense and did work with trainers, but did no live contact, did no drills, really did nothing in 7-on-7s or 11-on-11s. He really just did walkthroughs and worked with the trainer and was working on recovering. Kerby Joseph's mentioned that last season that he played through the injury. It was there, but now he feels 10 times better, and he's excited to get back on the field. He's excited to get back with his teammates, and even though the recovery process is coming along a little bit slower, Kerby Joseph feels confident that he will be ready for training camp and, of course, will be ready for the start of the 2024 season. It was also mentioned that Kerby Joseph bulked up a little bit this offseason. He put on about 15 pounds of muscle, and I think that Kerby Joseph is primed for a breakout year. And as far as that goes, right, talking about a player through his first 2 career years having 8 interceptions and a bunch of turnovers and a bunch of tackles, right? By the numbers, Kerby Joseph was one of the best players from his draft class, but I think Kerby Joseph can take that even a step further. I think with the hip surgery, that explosiveness and the range that we saw from rookie Kerby Joseph will return to much closer to where it was as a rookie, as opposed to where it was in his second season. I think the explosiveness will be back. I think he's going to be just a little bit more durable and a little bit bigger. He's going to be a little bit better in the run defense. And where Kerby Joseph has always been a big hitter, he hasn't always been the cleanest tackler. I think the weight will help him be a much better tackler. And I think with the upgraded secondary and the upgraded defensive line around him, as well as being fully healthy for the first time since his rookie season, Kerby Joseph could have a career year. I think the coverage busts are going to be gone. I think you're going to see a lot more range from Kerby Joseph this year as opposed to last year. And with the secondary upgrades at cornerback, making the quarterback hold on to the ball just a little bit longer in coverage, as well as the upgrades on the defensive line, putting that much more pressure on the quarterback when he's throwing the ball, I think we could be in for a lot of overthrown balls. I think we could be in for a lot of Kerby Joseph hits down the sideline, a lot of Kerby Joseph defended passes, and a lot of interceptions from number 31. But I just wanted to talk about Kerby Joseph today. I wanted to talk about the hip surgery. I wanted to talk about where he's at. From everything that I've read, Kerby Joseph is confident that he will be back for training camp, and there is no limitations on him going into 2024. And if anything, we are going to see a much better, much more confident, and a much healthier version of Kerby Joseph as to what we saw a season ago. So with all of that being said, that is all I have for you guys today. Thank you all so much for watching. Let me know down in the comments below what you think about Kerby Joseph, how you feel about the surgery, how you feel about him going into 2024. Very curious what you guys have to say and what you guys think. But with all of that being said, that is all I have for you guys today. If you have yet to subscribe to the channel, please go down below and do so. We are pushing for 4,100 subscribers by the start of training camp. And if you are a big fan of the Detroit Lions merch, we did drop a merch line just yesterday, that being the Sub-Zero line with rookie cornerback Terrion Arnold on the front and with the primary logo. So if you are a big fan of that, make sure you get down below. You can buy it in the WriterWrong shop. Prices are now dropped from where they were before, and we will be coming out with more merch as the weeks and months go on. So if you want a Terrion Arnold hoodie, sweatshirt, or shirt, of course, go down below and buy that in the shop. With all that being said, that's all I got for you guys right now. Thank you all so much for watching, and until next time, and as always, go Lions.